a black dot suddenly appeared in the sky. The girl looked through a telescope, suddenly scared out in a cold sweat. Original. Someone is walking on a tightrope at a height of 500 meters. There are no safety measures on men. The only reliance is on the balance bar in hand. Tired of walking, he just lay there on the wire, even released the balance bar with both hands. Looking down from this height, the car on the ground is the size of an ant. The road is already crowded with spectators. He slowly got up, but the next second, his name is Philip. When I was a child, I saw walking on a tightrope once. I have been fascinated by this acrobatics ever since. Little he, wrap the hemp rope in circles around 2 trees, start trying to walk the tightrope on your own. Slowly, as the rope became less and less, he also transformed from a young child into a spirited young man. But after all, he comes from a wild background. Wait for him to replace the hemp rope with steel wire. But it was found that the fixing method of the steel wire is different from that of the hemp rope, so he shamelessly approached the old leader of the circus. Take out all your savings, please ask the senior leader to teach him how to fix the steel wire. Just the tension of the steel wire, and learn the skills of walking the steel wire. The old leader taught him without reservation, with skills. Philip left very well this time. Just a few steps away from the finish line, he started shaking, almost fell off. The old leader told him, how many tightrope walkers die in the last few steps? Because seeing victory in front of us, the tense force relaxed. So as long as you step on the steel wire, don't slack off for a minute or a second. In order to exercise Philip's psychological qualities, the old leader arranged a live performance for him. At first, Philip's walked smoothly, but when he reaches the middle, loud cheers and discussions from the audience. It makes it difficult for him to concentrate. A mess underfoot. The performance ended in failure. But this did not dampen Philip's enthusiasm. Since the sound will affect him, then he'll go to a height where he can't hear any sound. So he took a fancy to Notre Dame de Paris. Under the cover of night, he dived to the roof of Notre Dame de Paris, wrap the fishing line around a ball, throw the ball vigorously to the other side, then use a fishing line to pull the steel wire, and hang it between the 2 floors. At dawn, when the first wave of tourists arrived at the entrance of Notre Dame, Phillips began his first illegal high-altitude tightrope walking performance. 1 person, 1 stabilizer bar, without any safety measures, he, walking on a steel wire at a height of 100 meters. The troubles in the world have receded one after another. All he had left in his eyes was the steel wire on the soles of his feet. He walked steadily, elegant yet calm, even kneeling on one knee on the steel wire. Pay tribute to this performance. The onlookers applauded him one after another, despite being arrested by the police the next second. But no one can deny the success of this performance. This perfect performance gave Phillips great confidence. He wants to challenge his ultimate goal, the tallest building at that time, the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. But when he arrived downstairs at the Twin Towers, the body that was hit by this high blow was flawless. The Twin Towers are too high. It seems to be constantly graying towards the sky. Phillips has advised for the first time. But when he arrived at the rooftop, stepping on steel plates towards the edge of the building, everything seems different again. He mustered the courage to look down. A gust of wind struck. He quickly opened his arms to maintain balance. At this moment, he's like a bird searching for balance in a storm. Since birds can, so he can definitely make a decision. We need to take action. Phillips asked his girlfriend to shake the steel wire vigorously, simulate non-stop strong winds in high altitude. My friend made a bow and arrow. Tie the fishing line to the arrow. Start practicing long-range shooting. This solves the problem of building steel cables. But the management of the Twin Towers would definitely not approve of him performing such a dangerous performance, so the performance can only be done by stealth. He set the time on August the 6th. There's not much preparation time left for them. Phillips disguises himself as a different person every day and goes to the building to conduct on-site investigations. I also brought in a few adventurous friends to help me out. Just when everything is ready, an accident occurred. When he was stepping on the spot, step on the nail without paying attention, adding insult to injury to already difficult actions. This time, even his girlfriend, who has always supported him, advised him to give up. But Phillips refused. They disguised themselves as delivery workers and infiltrated the building. Be careful and avoid along the way. Finally, the equipment was transported to the rooftop, but they underestimated the weight of the steel cable. When halfway through the transmission, the steel cable suddenly plummeted rapidly. Fortunately, Phillips has busy hands and fast feet, fixed the steel wire in a timely manner. After a whole night of hard work, I finally finished the preparation work before dawn. At this point, Phillips was already physically and mentally exhausted, but he still faces the rising sun, taking the first step towards dreams. This madman walked a tightrope at an altitude of 500 meters. I don't have any protective measures on my body. If you slip on one foot, be crushed to pieces. But his expression remained calm. Every step is steady and firm. Happy cheers from girlfriends on the ground, pulling passers-by to stop and watch. Phillips walked smoothly from the South Tower to the North Tower. My dream has finally come true. but there was no joy on his face. He looked at the steel rope hanging high in the air, make a move that shocked the world. He walked back onto the wire rope, although the blood had soaked the sole of the shoe, but he still knelt on one knee in the middle of the wire rope. Turns out he forgot to pay homage to the steel rope at his feet. Salute to the Twin Towers of the World Trade Organization. Salute to all the audience. Also pay tribute to oneself on the steel wire. At this point, 2 police officers arrived at the roof of the building, shouting loudly at Phillips for coming back. But Phillips has a hook on his lips. Next second, I forgot. 2 police officers were almost scared to pee by him. Phillips started walking in the opposite direction. He looked down at the ground. Then release your hands, kneeling on the balance bar. At this moment, many police officers also gathered on the opposite roof of the building. But Phillips is not affected at all. He just wants to perform to his heart's content. Even danced on the tightrope. A focused performance must be tiring, so Phillips simply lay on the wire rope. He released his hands. Seems to be resting in the lightest way possible. He felt the temperature of the clouds. At this moment, a bird suddenly appeared, make him realize that it's time to end this dreamy journey. But when he got up and prepared to go back, the wood that fixed the steel cable was crushed and broken. Phillips quickly stabilizes its body shape. Lift the balance bar onto your shoulder. One hand naturally hangs down. Slowly walk back like a warp. Just a few steps away from the rooftop, Phillips' legs suddenly trembled uncontrollably. Okay, it turned out to be just a small joke. 100 people. Phillips was arrested on the spot, but everyone was shocked by his dreamy performance, because it did not cause any substantial harm. Finally, the judge ordered him to perform tightrope walking for the children in the park. The manager of the Twin Towers gave him an open-ended pass, and let him leave his name at the beginning of the steel wire. This is an adaptation based on the real events of Philip Pat. It's also a miracle of humanity.